Hi, I'm Prince. Welcome to my online shopping tutorial series of videos. Happy to be recording again today. It's been some time since I released a video. So what we'll be looking at from our last video, we were able to add a list of products for our catalog page, and then a user was also able to add the item to a shopping cart. So what we'll be looking at today is to authenticate a specific user that will be linked onto that shopping cart. So stay tuned and enjoy the video. This is probably a short one, but we'll see how far we can go. So the code for this tutorial goes like the best preparation for tomorrow is doing your best today. This is by H. Jackson Brown. So our plan will go like this. We will implement a user register and a login, and these are the steps that we'll be going through today. We'll add a register action method, a register model view for presenting the data to the user, and a register page that will be presented for the user to capture their registration details. And then once we have captured all of that information, we'll then look at authenticating this particular user via our login page, which is also broken down into 3 steps: our login action method, our login model view, and our login page. Yeah, remember the framework we're using here is MVC. So you'll notice a pattern of a model, a view, and an action method, and that action method is actually part of a specific controller. That's where the MVC actually comes from, because if you look at it, you have a model, you have a view, and you have a controller, but that controller contains action methods which are linked into specific views, hence MVC, model and view controller. So this is what we're trying to achieve today. This is what your registration page will look like in the end, and there will be your login, and then afterwards we're gonna publish this application onto a smarter ASP.NET platform, and then we will access it from the cloud instead of from our local machine. So yeah, let's dive into it and let's see how this goes. So this is our shopping cart page. It's a very nice page. We've added some CSS on this. The only thing that we need to do now is to update the text of that button to check out. We can't really say check out all, because that gives an impression that you can check out some things and leave out others, which is not ideal for a shopping platform. You really want to check out everything you have on your cart. The ones that you don't need, you can actually remove from the cart. And then this is our page for all the items that are in our catalog. So yeah, one more thing we needed to do was to update our cart with the actual number of items that have been added. So yeah, we will also do that as part of this video. So I'll stop this application from running now, and then I'm gonna go ahead and get my hands dirty. So first things first, we just explained this now. Our framework, or the pattern that we are using for this application, is MVC. So that implies we need a model, we need a view, we need a controller for everything that we are going to do. So I'm gonna go ahead and add a custom controller where we will actually plug in our register and login actions. This would normally go into an account controller, but I don't like to do it that way. I prefer to use a specific user for separation of concerns, because let's say now I have an administrator that I need to add on this thing, then I can easily go and add an admin controller instead of trying to dump everything on an account controller, which becomes a mess at a later stage. Okay, so there we have our customer controller. So before we even start with our login and register here, I would like to mention a few things. You can go read about like ASP.NET login or authentication on the Microsoft website. You'll find out the following information I'm about to give to you now. You need a user manager for managing your user, and then you need a sign-in manager for managing the sign-ins, sign out, and all of that. And you need a role manager for managing your roles, because according to ASP.NET, every user has a specific role on the system. So it kind of works that way. You need those three before you can do anything in terms of authenticating a user. So I'm gonna go ahead and create my first object for a user manager. So there we go. I wanna use a user instead of an identity user. And the reason for that is because I want to create my own user class instead of using the existing identity user class. But other than that, you can go ahead and use the default identity user class. It works with the same concept, and you can actually achieve the same results. And I'll do the exact same thing for my role. So that one is actually using the identity role. Then I'll accept what intelligence is suggesting there. Okay, so now we need to go ahead and create this class so that this will stop complaining. So now we've created the controller, the C part of the framework, and now we are adding the model, which is the M part of the framework. That's how this whole thing ties in. And then after, we're gonna go for a view and a page, or a page, which is the V part of the framework. So we have our user. Then this user now can inherit from identity user. So this is complaining because it needs a reference to Microsoft ASP.NET Core Identity. That's the library where it comes from, which is why you can go ahead and use it as is. But if you want to define more specific properties for your user, then you might as well just extend on it, because then you get everything that comes with Microsoft ASP.NET Core identity, and then extend the specific properties that you need for your own using. So I don't need a lot of fields for this. It's mainly just the first name, last name, and a user type and the dates the user was created. We can always modify this model if we need to, but at this stage I just want to keep it as basic as possible. And then the public date time, this is just an object to keep track of when this user was created, and I don't want to instantiate it to anything, because I want this information to be actually created during the registration, so that it gives the exact date and timestamp of when the user was created. Okay, so I'm done with that part. Now we have our user model. We can then fix this error. This should go away now. Perfect. So from there, we look at our register mode. That was the plan. Let me look at the slides again. Yeah, we're going to start with the register method. That's what the slides are saying. So we follow the slides. So I'm going to make this one an HTTP post. And then this will be using the register model. So initially, when our page first loads, we will be hitting this action. Once we are inside this action, we've collected all the information from the user, we've done all the validations, and then you click submit, then you will be posting onto this action. So it's more of like a page load and a submit action. So on here, we need to make sure that our register model has everything that we need, because it's what we're going to be using to pass information to the user object as well. So no, it doesn't. So I believe this is a default one. I'm gonna update it and create my own that I can customize. Try avoid to use the default models most of the time, unless you don't have a choice, then you might just use a default one. But if you can, my best suggestion is create your own model that you can customize however you want. It's easy to maintain, because when you get errors during runtime, you know what to look at and you know what you could have done wrong, instead of trying to debug issues that are coming from a default model that was created for you. So I'm going to go ahead like so and create that register view model. And I need a few properties on here. almost similar to my user model, but except for a few things. Yeah, I will now have things like passwords, confirm passwords, remember me, and so forth. I have IntelliSense. Somehow it already knows what I need on a register model. First name, last name, email, password, confirm password. Okay, we also need a phone number. Just in case we decide to use SMSs at some point, or OTPs for authentication, or whatever reason that we might need to use a phone number for. Okay, then the next thing now we need to do is to add validations for this. This is another thing that I like about MVCs, because when you create your model, you can put the validation on there as well to say these are the error messages that I want to be returned if this field has been left blank, or if the format of the information or the data that is captured for this field doesn't look a certain way, I want to return this error message. For most frameworks, you have to write custom code to do this, but MVC sort of does it for you automatically, which is really nice and smart, I would say. Okay, there's my register view model is completely built now. I have first name. Okay, let me just leave a line between these so it's easy to read. Okay, perfect. We have our first name, last name, email, phone number, password, confirm password. I don't think there's anything missing other than the password validation. I think we should also add I want to add like a basic validation that I can think of right now. We can always improve it at a later stage if we need to. But the most important one will be, first we need to compare the password and the confirm password field. Those two need to match. So how you do that is by specifying a compare field, and then an error message for that is obviously password does not match. That if they don't match, but then we still need to validate the password in terms of the length. Is it a strong password or not? So we're going to specify the string length of 40 characters. This is like the entire thing. the minimum is 8, and then that's your error message. So we will quickly do this exact same thing for confirm password, except that we don't compare the confirm password to anything. We only compare the password to the confirmed password. Okay, perfect. Now we're done with the model. Now let's go and finish up our action quickly. So the first thing we want to do is to check if the model state is valid, meaning all the fields that are expected by this action, they are being passed through. If not, we want to return a nice error message to the user. If they are, then you continue with the registration part of this, which will go like this. Come on. Okay, there we go. So this user will get an email. Okay, it comes from identity user, because I'm wondering where's the username field coming from now. But anyways, it comes from the identity user that we inherit from. And the created field always seems to give, it causes problems because from the form you don't have the date created. So when this check happens, at that point the date created is null, so it always evaluates the whole statement to false, meaning there's an error that is actually happening, which is not the case. So to avoid or to bypass that, we can actually set it on top before the check even happens to say the date created so it's part of the user. Then we'll have to declare our user outside and then do something like, okay, no, it's fine. We can still do it in here. And then do the date create equals to change this to date created. Because created at gives an impression of a place. Okay, using system. Okay, that is in. So once we have this, we can then now go ahead and we want to call our user manager to do the create user. So once our user has been created, we can then check the result of the action. The result succeeded, and if role does not exist. Create row. See, I have a problem with this because this row this role will only be created after the user has been created, and then we just add user to role, which is fine. Okay, and then we sign in and then we redirect to index home, but that's not what we want to do. Instead, we want to redirect to product index. Yeah, we want to redirect to product index, not index home. Index home is something else. So we want to redirect to index product, and otherwise we want to return an error message. Okay, let's rebuild this application, make sure we didn't break anything. Okay, that is a bit slow. But then patience is a virtue, so I'm willing to wait. Okay, the build was successful. Let's go ahead and quickly add a view for this action. So I'm gonna generate a view, and then I'll customize it and get rid of what I don't need. So this is a register view. It's gonna be a create, and it comes from the register view model. Should pop up. Register view model, there we go, and then it uses that layout. Okay, I'm happy with this. Let's go ahead and what did I do now? Yeah, it's fine. Let's go ahead and generate that view. Okay, perfect. There's our view. It has been generated. So we've got register and register view model. I want to keep just one. It's just the register. Then I can get rid of that. So from here we need to add like some styling to make this look like our layout, and thereafter we should be ready to test this thing, and then move on to our login. Once we are done with the login, we can then look at publishing, and then we are done for this tutorial. So I need to add a few things on here. After this div class of row, in fact I'm going to change this to a card body. instead of a row. Like so, and then on top of that, I'm going to specify a header for creating an account, and that will be inside a card shadow. Which will be inside a container. So I can get rid of this HR over here, and then I can close this. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4 divs that needs to be closed. Then I can close that and align. Doesn't want to align. Let's try this again. Perfect. Okay, there we go, finally. So from there now I can just add the style tag, and then I need to add online shop header for this one with a navy background. The color of the text will be white, and then the text must be aligned center. Need to add some padding for this as well, and then okay, and then next is the header. And then last is the button. But now I must also rename my button at the bottom so that it matches this one. So this is not this won't be button primary anymore, but it will be that. Okay, cool. It looks perfect. So now we need to go to our layout. Then over here we're going to add another navigation link to our register page. So I'm quickly going to Okay, I'll copy this one and then I'll go details to register, and then this is sitting on the customer control, and then I'll just say register. Okay, cool. That should be fine. Okay, I'm gonna run this and test it quickly. The application is busy starting up. I'm not seeing any errors, which is good. I think this is the old instance I had opened. It's probably going to spin up a new one. It looks like this thing is running on Edge. It does look like it's running on Edge, which is unexpected. I was so sure that it's running on Chrome, but it's not a transmesh. Edge is also fine. We can test it on Edge. There's nothing wrong with that. So yeah, there's our new link. Is it actually navigating our user? It's busy loading. Okay, there's an issue. So our activation class needs a reference to the identity which is added now. So this now needs to change. Okay, so it looks like we missed something on our application DB context class. So before we had specified identity DB context, but now we are working with the user context, so we just needed to pass in the user on there. That was the first problem. And another issue was on our startup class. On the startup class, the way we passed our DB context didn't specify our identity user. Hence, we were getting that error before that says the user identity has not been activated. These two lines of code were missing, so that now should be fine. Okay, build is successful. I'm gonna run this again and try and test that page again just to see if our issue has been fixed. It should be. I don't want swagger. And over here, I don't want swagger. I just want the UI. Yes, that's the UI. It's busy loading. This is a bit slow for some reason, but also I think I have too many applications opened on my machine, so that is also consuming a lot of memory in the background, which is why things are a bit slow right now. Oh, come on. Okay, that is completed loading. So now I'm gonna try this page again. Register, there we go. So now I'm gonna try and register a user. But before then, I'm gonna try to check if all the validation is working. So remember we spoke about the validation right at the beginning. So if this model state is valid, we want to register. Otherwise, we want to return the same view with the error messages. So let's see if that is working. Create an account. There we go. Email is required, phone number is required, the password is required, confirm password is required, but I don't see a validation message for first name and last name, and I think I know why. It's fine, I'll update that just now. So let's try and create a user. Yeah, that's my email. That's my phone number, and then that's my password, and create account. So my passwords did not match. Let's try that again. Okay, I have a plan B for this password thing. I'm just gonna paste it in so that it's the exact same password. Okay, there's an error. Let's see what the error says. Oh, okay, this one just wants us to update the database, meaning this new schema was not yet added on the database. So I'm gonna stop this and then go remember we updated the application DB context class, so that now wants us to update the database as well. So I'm gonna go package manager console, and once I'm there, I'll add a migration, and then say user model. It's pointing on to a wrong thing. You wanna add it on this application and not the API. Okay, perfect. And then now we want to update this database. The API is not running. It's the only reason why that would happen. And it makes sense that it's not, because we changed this thing. From multiple projects to a single application. Yeah, now it should be fine. I really wanted this to be a quick one, but it doesn't look like it. So I think I'll just quickly add the login part of it and then end it here. Yeah, publishing might just be a separate video. But I guess I'm trying to make my recordings like way a bit less than 1 hour, but it looks like I'm still taking almost an hour just to go through one section. Okay, cool. I want to try with this user again. What was the issue on this one? It was the database. So yeah, hopefully that user was not created. Otherwise it would just complain about the existing user. Nice. So there we go. So it looks like how our registration works at the moment. It just it registers the user and then log them in. At a later stage, we want to change this. Maybe send a registration link for them to confirm their account and things like that. Let me see if I can quickly add the login. Yeah, I think I can. Let's quickly try and add the login part of this. So just copy this, paste it over here, display the login page, and then post the login action. Okay. So let's see. Now we need to quickly create the login view model. So models class do my login view model, add so we've already gone through how to create a model. I'm gonna rush through that. Then just add these missing and using statements, and then go back to the controller, where I will then now change this to login, and then from there I can then add the code for logging the user. Sorry to rush through this like that, but I'm gonna quickly explain this now. So this one's our method to be asynchronous because it uses an await keyword to avoid any deadlocks. Okay, cool. So we're using sign-in manager. We're passing in an email address, a user password, and a remember me flag. But these are the only two important things. This would be the email that was used when the user registered their account, as well as the password. If it's not the correct one, it will throw this error. Otherwise, it will redirect the user to this page. So since we have the user now that is logged in, we will then go to this page. But before then, we need to add a login view. I'm gonna go for an empty one because I want to quickly paste this view. It's exactly the same like the register, which is with the fewer fields, but everything else is exactly the same. So if you like, you can even copy paste the register form on here, and then just remove all the other fields and make sure you are left with an email and a password, and then you have to add this part for the remember me flag, and that's it. There's nothing else that is required. So the using statement is complaining because of the way we are referencing our login view model. Okay, perfect. So now that we have that, we can now go to the products controller, and in here we want to get the logged in user, and then we want to get their first name. Come on. So using the sign-in manager, we'll get the user as synchronous and then grab their first name. This we must still update. Okay, now that we have that, we can now go update the layout, because the layout is also hard coded with Mr. John or something. I can't even remember. But we can now go and update this thing. There, the John can now change to a valid username, and I think that's it. Let's quickly run this. Okay, nice. Let me see. One thing I didn't do, which is to add the navigation for the hyperlink, or you mean writing for login. So I have to pass it on the URL directly. It's not found. Okay. Maybe that's a good thing. Because we're supposed to add it here using login. And again login. Okay, cool. So let's see, why did it say not found? Oh, I see why. Why is it called loading asynchronous instead of just loading? There's a view. So it definitely does a review. Okay, let's see. invalid login. I wonder what's the password that used for this user. That one is also invalid. Okay, it's fine. Let's go look at the database. Well, we won't get the password though. It's encrypted. So it's the connection string. Oh my god. Okay. Never mind. We just have to register this guy. And then I'm gonna use this password. Okay, create. There we go. We don't have John anymore. Now we have that guy over there, and then now I'm gonna log out and see if we can log in. Okay, I know why. I know why we are getting that error. I'm gonna go to this. Which one is it? I think it's this one. Okay, we need to find. Let's see. 14380. 14380 is this one. Then let's connect users, view data. This thing tends to be slow sometimes. Oh, look at that, complaining helps. So if I change it to true and then go back here, it's not this page. This was running on page. Yeah. This should work now. Perfect. There we are getting the logged in username now. So this is all dynamic, which is what we wanted now. So thank you so much for watching. I would like to stop this tutorial here because it's getting a bit long, and then I'll create another video for publishing this now on Smarter ASP.NET. I guess it's just gonna be a separate video where we just discuss publishing and accessing this application on the cloud. But as for today, what we have covered is almost everything that we wanted to cover except for the publishing part. We've done the register action method, we looked at the register model view, and we designed and implemented the register page together. We also looked at the login action method, the login model, and a login page, which is what we were doing just now. And in the end, we did see these two pages live, which was part of the plan. So thank you for watching. Please look out for the next tutorial on publishing what we just did. It's gonna be a bit tricky since we're doing microservices, but I'm gonna walk you through it step by step.